For 25 years, Seth Lightman has seen it all. From the newest electric car revolution, solar power, bike lanes made in NYC. And now we are here. More electric cars, need for more renewables and eco-friendly products in our world. Well, now it's time for an all-out podcast for this time, The Green Living Guy Show. He's funny, real, exactly on point, and some think his style is so raw, it's crazy. Let's do this, folks. It's time for The Green Living Guy Show.
Do you want a podcast on green living? For over 25 years, podcaster Seth Lightman has been into electric cars and solar since the 90s. Now he wants to bring his experience, New York attitude, and love for green living to the masses so that we can all have fun, live greener, and save this planet for generations to come. They say a true man plants a tree that will never sit in the shade. That's the green living guy, Seth Lightman at heart. He is also an author and editor of 9 Green Guru Guides and has worked for New York State for 10 years doing green. For more information, visit greenlivingguy.com and subscribe to his podcast.
Welcome to the Next Take podcast. This is episode 37 with just me, Tanyka, and we are going to be talking about Father's Day. So happy Father's Day to all the fathers. Now, Mikel won't be on this episode. He has very briefly mentioned, I think in a different episode, just about a month or so, I guess in the mental health episode, that, Father's Day is not really a day for him to celebrate. So we'll leave it at that. Maybe he'll hop in and just have a little message to everyone, saying happy Father's Day, but, it's going to be just me for the duration of the episode. So, without further ado, let's just hop right into and do it. So the nation's first Father's Day was celebrated on June 19th, 1910. So this would have been after Mother's Day in the state of Washington. It wasn't until 1972, which was roughly 58 years after, President Woodrow Wilson made Mother's Day official, that the day honoring fathers became a nationwide holiday in the States. Father's Day this year is going to be on Sunday, June 16th. So you'll get this probably a few days before that, but that's when Father's Day is going to be celebrated this year. So, the campaign to celebrate the nation's fathers did not meet with the same enthusiasm as maybe it did for Mother's Day, perhaps because, as one florist explained, quote, fathers haven't the same sentimental appeal that mothers have, which I think is sad, unfortunately, but also true. On July 5th, 1908, a West Virginia church sponsored the nation's first ever explicitly in honor of fathers, a Sunday sermon in memory of the 362 men who had died in the previous December's explosions at the Fairmont Coal Company mines in Monoga. I'm sorry for saying that wrong. But it was a one-time thing, and it was not meant to become like an annual holiday. However, the next year in Spokane, Washington, a woman named Sonora Smart Dodd, one of 6 children raised by a widower, tried to establish an official equivalent to Mother's Day for male parents. She went to local churches, the YMCA, shopkeepers, and government officials to drum up support for her idea, and she was successful. Washington State celebrated the nation's first nationwide Father's Day, as mentioned previously, on June 19th, 1910. Slowly, the holiday spread. In 1916, President Wilson honored the day by using telegraph signals to unfurl a flag in Spokane when he pressed a button in Washington, D.C. Interesting technology. In 1924, President Calvin Coolidge urged state governments to observe Father's Day. Today, the day honoring fathers is celebrated in the United States on the third Sunday of June. So that's not just in the States, that's also most places, but we will talk about how other countries celebrate Father's Day in a little bit. So in other countries, especially in Europe and Latin America, fathers are honored on St. Joseph's Day, which is a traditional Catholic holiday that falls on March 19th. I did not know that Joseph had a day. Anyway, many men, however, continued to disdain the day. Interesting. As one historian writes, they scoffed at the holiday's sentimental attempts to domesticate manliness with flowers and gift giving, or they derided the proliferation of such holidays as a commercial gimmick to sell more products, often paid for by the father himself. That's fair. That part's fair, that I get. But I think, again, especially if you're little kids, it's usually not like a little kid going out there and buying a gift, it's the parent. So it may should be the mother in that case, not the father. But yeah, as for the first half of that though, sorry men to just mess up your manliness. You're no longer a man if you're getting flowers and gifts. Fuck patriarchy. Anyway, during the 1920s and 1930s, a movement arose to scrap Mother's Day and Father's Day altogether in favor of a single holiday, Parents' Day. Every year on Mother's Day, pro-Parents' Day groups rallied in New York City's Central Park. A public reminder said Parents' Day activist and radio performer Robert Spear that both parents should be loved and respected together. Sometimes they shouldn't, but I think that, they deserve to have their own separate days. Why not? Anyway. Paradoxically, however, the Great Depression derailed this effort to combine and decommercialize the holidays. Struggling retailers and advertisers redoubled their efforts to make Father's Day a second Christmas for men, promoting goods such as neckties, hats, socks, pipes and tobacco, golf clubs and other sporting goods, and greeting cards. When World War II began, advertisers began to argue that celebrating Father's Day was a way to honor American troops and support the war effort. By the end of the war, Father's Day may not have been a federal holiday, but it was a national institution. In 1972, in the middle of a hard-fought presidential re-election campaign, Richard Nixon signed a proclamation making Father's Day a federal holiday at last. I didn't know it was a federal holiday in the States. I don't know if it's a federal holiday here in Canada. I'll search that up, actually. After I finish the sentence. Today, economists estimate that Americans spend more than $1 billion each year on Father's Day gifts. That's still not as much as Mother's Day, but it's still quite a bit. So here's the answer for us Canadians. Father's Day is not a federal public holiday in Canada. It falls on a Sunday, which is a day off for many workers. So many offices and stores are closed already. So yeah, other places obviously are open, grocery stores, malls, stuff like that. But because it falls on a Sunday to begin with, it's not like Canada Day or something, or Christmas, that if it lands on a weekend, you would get that in lieu of. That's not what happens. So, but anyway, there's your answer. So let's do some fun facts for Father's Day. So, number 1, most countries around the world celebrate Father's Day on the 3rd Sunday of June, as mentioned. In Australia, it's the 1st Sunday of September. Finnish people celebrate the festival on the 2nd day of November. And in Germany, they celebrate an Ascension Day, which is the 40th day of Easter. In Thailand, the king's birthday is National Father's Day. Currently, this is on December 5th, so that's when Thailand celebrates it. I think we talked about carnations being the flower for Mother's Day, and how if you have like a red one or a white one, it signified whether your mom was alive or deceased. Well, for Father's Day, it's the rose. So wearing a red rose signifies a living father, while a white one represents a deceased father. An Indian man named Ramjeet Raghav became the world's oldest dad in 2012 when he fathered his second child at 96. Yikes. Greeting cards are the number 1 gift item on Father's Day, with most popular card being Dad from Daughter. So those are fun facts. Not many, because a lot of them I already told you. So let's do some funny dad jokes. Let's just do it. So why did the old man fall down the well? I'll give you a minute to think about it. The answer? He couldn't see that well. Just stupid dad jokes. I tried to make up a joke about a ghost, but I couldn't. It had plenty of spirit, but no body. What is the difference between a piano, a tuna, and a pot of glue? This is what Dad's going to ask you. You're going to respond with, I don't know. Dad's going to come back with, you can tune a piano, but you can't piano a tuna. And what about the pot of glue? I knew you'd get stuck on that. Lord. 2 windmills were sitting on a hill. One asked the other, do you have a favorite song? The other replies, well, all my life I have been a heavy metal fan. Oh Lord. Today at the bank, an old lady asked me to check her balance, so I pushed her over. I got an A on origami assignment when I turned my paper into my teacher. How many stormtroopers does it take to change a light bulb? None, because they are all on the dark side. Shit. If your house is cold, just stand in the corner. It's always 90 degrees there. Hi, I'm Cliff. Drop over sometime. That's horrible, but funny. What do you call the security guards for Samsung? Guardians of the Galaxy. How much does a chimney cost? Nothing. That's on the house. Why did the egg have a day off? Because it was Friday. Fryda. Have you ever heard about the kidnapping at school? It's okay, he woke up. Kidnapping. I found a book called How to Solve 50% of Your Problems, so I bought 2. Why did the coffee taste like dirt? Because it was ground just a few minutes ago. Why did the Rolling Stones stop making music? Because it got to the bottom of the hill. So we kind of did this with Mother's Day too, with fun Father's Day movies that you can watch with your father if you'd like to. So there's quite a bit of movies here on this website because I wasn't going to do this before, but we can go through some of this. So there's this one movie called On Golden Pond. So this movie stars Henry Fonda, Jane Fonda's dad, And he plays this guy named Norman who spends his summers at a home on Golden Pond. His estranged daughter chooses to stay with her family to mend her relationship with her father before it's too late. So apparently you can watch Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, which spoiler alert, there is a dad in it, but like I don't really see how this is dad, but I'd watch it. So if you know nothing about Guardians of the Galaxy, if you're not a Marvel's fan, this is about this underground Peter, who's played by Chris Pratt, search for his long lost father. Willie, in his creepily attracted by all of his father's planet, has to offer, or will he fulfill his mission? Spoiler alert, it's not a happy ending if you haven't seen the movie. Anyway, there is this movie called Air, which I've never heard of, but has a lot of... Oh, because it's a new one, that's why. It's a new one. It's from 2023. It's free to watch for Prime members if you want to watch it. It stars Ben Affleck, Matt Damon, Viola Davis, and they tell the story of Michael Jordan's historic shoe deal with Nike. Oh, okay, yeah, that movie. So yeah, it also looks like it has Chris Tucker in it. So yeah, there you go. If you got a little ones, if you want to watch Onward, which is a Disney Pixar flick, this is an unconventional Father's Day film, follows Elf brothers as they set out on an epic quest to bring back their long-lost father. This funny animated feature from Pixar is for all of the father figure types we have in our lives that are worth celebrating alongside our biological dads. We bought a zoo. Now this is a good one. Young widower and journalist Benjamin Mee, who is played by Matt Damon, attempts to take on a new adventure when he purchases a rundown wildlife reserve and moves there with his 2 children. Not only does he take on all of the animals, including a depressed tiger, but also the eccentric staff and the potential to revitalize a former zoo. Single dads and widowers will be inspired by his journey of healing from loss and turning it into a gift for his community. Ooh, The Judge. This is a good one. I like this one. This is The Judge, and this is what's his name again? The author? I should know this because my mom loves his books. Anyways, that doesn't matter. So, The Judge follows a shady lawyer, Hank Palmer, who's caught up in the trial of his judge father, who's facing hit and run charges. So that's basically what this is about. This stars Robert Downey Jr. and Robert Duvall. So that's who is in this one. Mr. Mom with Mr. Michael Keaton. Every stay-at-home dad will relate to the plight of Michael Keaton's character in this John Hughes comedy as he takes over the job of caring for his 3 kids. From dirty diapers to neighborhood drama, this movie has it all. It's been a minute since I watched this movie. So yeah, there's that. Ooh, we talked about this movie during, Mikel talked about this movie, questioned why this movie wasn't going to be in the Mother's Day list. But I told him it is more of a Father's Day type movie, and I was right. Mrs. Doubtfire. Mrs. Doubtfire is an eccentric British nanny. Is played by the ever beloved Robin Williams in this hilarious but heartfelt tale of just how far a father will go to care for his children. So that is that movie. One of my favorite movies, Drive-By Fruiting. And yeah, there's that movie. Cheaper by the Dozen. I hope there's another movie on here that is also Steve Martin. We'll see. But yeah, Cheaper by the Dozen. You can watch all of them if you'd like. If you think your dad is stressed out, imagine how he'd act if he had 12 of you. Steve Martin will give you a glimpse of that lifestyle, as he plays the head of an unusually large household in this comedy, as his character struggles to juggle, it had that last time too, his family and his career. It becomes clear which matters more in the end. So that's that one. 3 Men and a Baby. I love this movie. Any movie starring Tom Selleck is a must-watch. But this comedy was practically made for Father's Day. Enjoy the antics of 3 successful single roommates as they're forced to watch over an abandoned infant left in front of their New York City loft. Although they make pretty bad babysitters, they quickly develop an attachment to the adorable little girl. We have another Ted Danson's in that one too, right? Yeah. We have another Ted Danson movie. This one's called Dad. And the title of this dramatic comedy says it all. Ted Danson sensibly plays the role of a father and a son and what it means to be both. Definitely Maybe. Now this is starring my favorite guy ever, Ryan Reynolds. It's an okay movie. It's not one of my favorites, but as her parents split up, a young daughter who's played by Abigail Breslin asks her dad, Ryan Reynolds, how he met her. His stories lead to a trip down memory lane that may mean a second chance for their family. The Game Plan. This is a movie I haven't seen in a long time. Superstar quarterback Joe Kingman, played by Dwayne The Rock Johnson, gets a surprise visit from a daughter he never knew he had. His challenges on the field have nothing on his new life as a dad. It's such a cute movie. It's so good. Next, Grown Ups. Grown Ups. Do I need to say anything more than that? Grown Ups, number 1. Number 2 kind of sucked, but number 1 is really, really good. One of my favorites. I never get sick and tired of it. I can watch it. I probably have watched it a million times already, and I absolutely love that movie. So good. But they do have Grown Ups 2 on this list, so there you go. It's not that good. It's okay. Finding Nemo. Think your old man is too old for an animated movie? Come on, it's Nemo. Everyone loves it. This Disney classic follows an anxious clownfish on his 1,000,005, what the hell? A long ass journey, okay? Across the ocean to find his young son who was taken by a scuba diver. Marlin's determination to find Nemo proves that there's nothing a father wouldn't do for his child. The Pursuit of Happiness. Will Smith and his real-life son, Jaden, star in this true story of a struggling dad who dreams of a better life for his boy. After finding themselves homeless, Will's character risks everything when he lands an unpaid internship in a competitive stockbroker training program that has the potential to change everything. Parenthood, another Steve Martin movie, not the one I'm looking for, but we'll keep going. An all-star cast: Steve Martin, Jason Robards, Mary Diane West, mix for a very funny and very moving movie about the highs, home runs, birthday parties, and lows, deadbeat dads, learning differences that are part and parcel with raising kids. National Lampoon's Vacation. Chevy Chase is back because there's money and annoying his kids more than ever because, of course, in this all-American classic that follows a family on a road trip to Wally World. Naturally, they run into a few obstacles along the way, and it's nothing short of hilarious. And I've just watched that the other day. Next one, 17 Again, which stars the forever amazing Matthew Perry. When soon-to-be divorced 37-year-old... He was supposed to be 37? Sorry. Okay. By that. But yeah, I guess that makes sense. But yeah, 37-year-old Mike McDonnell, which is played by Matthew Perry, is transformed back into his teenage self, which is played by Zac Efron, and he gets a chance to do life again, this time the right way. Love 17 Again. Okay, here we have the next Steve Martin movie, Cheaper by the Dozen 2, which of course I did mention. You can watch that too. I like that movie as well. But still not the Steve Martin movie I'm looking for. The Baker family from Cheaper by the Dozen goes camping and ends up in an all-out, not-so-friendly competition with another family, which is the other family is the head of that family is played by Eugene Levy, which is just a great combination. You have Eugene Levy and Chris C. Martin in a movie together. Anyway, there is that one. Next one, What a Girl Wants. One of my favorites. Yearning for a relationship with her father, an American teenage girl played by Amanda Bynes travels to England to find him, played by Colin Firth. Love him, find him she does, as well as a little mischief and herself. Of course, if you don't know, she doesn't know that he didn't know he had a daughter. I'm not going to mention this one because it's not a Father Mike movie, but Freaky Friday is also on this list. That's weird. Anyway, let's keep going. Field of Dreams, which is played, Kevin Costner's in this one, and he lives out his vision of creating a baseball diamond in his Iowa cornfield, ultimately allowing him to reconnect with the memory of his late father. Sleepless in Seattle. Tom Hanks, America's dad. Stars as a hopelessly romantic widower whose young son convinces him he can find love again. Try not to cry, which I did, and I just watched that the other day, when Tom's character finally gives in and gives himself and his kid a chance to let another woman in, because he was a widower, I believe. I don't know if they mentioned that, but anyways. Daddy's Home. This is a great movie. If you haven't seen it, please go. It's so dumb and funny. I love it. Mark Wahlberg and Will Ferrell battle it out to see who's the better father in this hilarious comedy that dramatizes the dad versus stepdad relationship that sometimes exists in blended families. And don't forget, there's also another one, Daddy's Home 2. And just when the stepdad duo from Daddy's Home think they've got it all figured out, their dads come to town for the holidays, which kind of ruins things just a little bit. So now it's every dad for himself. So yeah, there's that. Finally, the one I've been looking for, Mr. Martin, Father of the Bride. I love this movie so much. Every father-daughter duo needs to watch this heartwarming performance by Steve Martin, who stars as an overprotective dad with a hard line letting go of his little girl when she decides to get married. And don't forget, there's another one, Father of the Bride 2. And this story continues as George Banks, played by Steve Martin, of course, becomes a grandfather and surprise, a father again. Love both of these movies. Can never get enough of them. Ugh. Every party has a pooper. Don't you forget that, okay? Oh, love this movie. Let's continue. It Takes Two, which is a Mary-Kate and Ashley classic. This is a good one. I haven't seen it in a while, but this one's good. When identical strangers, Amanda and Alyssa, played by the Olsen twins, decide to play matchmaker for Amanda's social worker and Alyssa's dad, the antics ensue. And Alyssa's dad's fiance doesn't stand a chance. Imagine That, which is an Eddie Murphy movie, stars in the sweet comedy about a dad whose life is all about work and no play. He then discovers a secret power in his daughter that helps him realize the ultimate job is being a father. If you are a fan of this, I guess you can somehow say this is a father type movie. The Godfather, which, if you don't know, this drama, which is considered one of the greatest films of all time, paints a chilling picture of life in the mafia that will have every father's eye glued to the screen. Marlon Brando's Oscar-winning performance explores the dangerous struggle between loyalty and power when you're mixed up in the family business. We can say the Parent Trap in this one too, because there's a dad in this one. This makes sense. In this, which is a reboot of the 1961 classic movie. Dennis Quaid is the father of twins, but one of them lives on the other side of the Atlantic with his estranged wife in England. Chaos unfolds when the clever sisters switch places after meeting at a summer camp, but the risky swap also gives one of them a chance to get to know the dad she always dreamed of meeting. Taken. I think this is pretty ultimate. What would a father do for his daughter? Liam Neeson stars a former spy who will stop at nothing to rescue his teenage daughter after she's kidnapped in Paris. Using his very particular set of skills and fueled by the love only a father could understand, he travels across the country to save his little girl's life before it's too late. Daddy Daycare, another Eddie Murphy classic, I would think. A recently unemployed dad played by Eddie Murphy capitalizes on his newfound freedom and decides to turn his home into a daycare center for his own son and the neighborhood kids. Annie, I guess we can add Annie to the mix. The suburban orphan who wins the heart of the rich and tough Daddy Warbucks. It's a classic rags to riches tale, which I love the movie. Oh, Armageddon. This one touches the heart, of course. A large asteroid is heading directly towards Earth, eek, certain to wipe out the planet if it hits. The movie shows the relationship between one woman and her astronaut father, which is played by Bruce Willis, as they try to save the world. Like any great dad, he is willing to make the ultimate sacrifice for her in the end. And if you haven't seen the movie, I won't go any further than that. But let's just say it doesn't end great. It's a very sad movie. Big Daddy. Adam Sandler's character, Sonny, briefly fills in as a father figure for an abandoned kid who turns out to be the biological son of his out-of-town roommate. He teaches the little boy some unconventional lessons about adulthood, but ultimately Sonny realizes that he's the one who needs to grow up. Love this movie. Love this movie. The Lion King. The Lion King can be added to this too. This coming-of-age cartoon masterpiece will take you back to your childhood as you watch Simba honor the memory of his late father, Mufasa, and fulfill his royal destiny. You can also watch that on Disney Plus if you'd like. For whatever reason, The Shining is on this list. I'm just curious as to why, so let's read this. Every list needs at least one horror movie on it. What better choice for Father's Day than the terrifying tale of Hollywood's worst dad? This cinematic recreation of Stephen King's novel will have you at the edge of your seat as you watch Jack Nicholson begin to lose his mind and terrorize his family. Okay, alright, maybe I'll watch it. I haven't watched that one yet, I do want to watch it. Anyway, Tyler Perry's Daddy's Little Girls. This was the movie for which I fell in love with Idris Elba for the very first time. Love this movie though. When a single dad of 3 daughters asks for the help of a powerful attorney to help win a custody battle, an unexpected romance begins to bloom. Even though they live different lifestyles, they're bonded by attempting to keep his family together. Liar, liar. When a shady lawyer's son makes a wish for his dad to tell the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God, he does just that. And the dad is played by Jim Carrey, which, need I say more? I love Jim Carrey, and hopefully you do too. But yeah, those are the movies that I'm going to mention. But yeah, I thought we would have a little fun with that just because we did do that with Mother's Day, so I figured we'd do that with Dad too. But so I guess really the only thing I'm going to end off with here is just my message to my dad or dads out there. I don't know as many dads besides my own dad. My ex is a father, so there's that. But for my dad, I haven't always had the greatest relationship with my dad. We've been off and on throughout. But the one thing that I'll say with my dad is he's been there when I needed him and I needed someone to talk to. And kind of been my rock through certain things throughout life that I've gone through. It's definitely been a little better in our relationship as an adult. So, but I am who I am because of my father. I'm very much like my father in many ways. I take after that side of the family, and we definitely have a lot of memories, funny memories, sad memories. But I wouldn't be who I am without my father. And I wouldn't have gotten through tough times like I have without my father. And that's kind of the message I have. Like, it's just a little different just because that's the best that I can do. I love my dad. And that's basically that. And again, for any of the other fathers in my life, like my ex-husband, I hope y'all have an amazing Father's Day. To the best of your ability. I hope you get something nice that you want. I don't know. For any of the other fathers listening to this, again, I hope you have a great Father's Day. And yeah, all in all, celebrating you today. That wraps up this episode. I think I said episode 37 of the Next Take podcast. So the Next Take podcast, you can get access to this podcast on any of your favorite podcast platforms, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify. We have a website that you can listen to these episodes, I believe. I'm not sure what Mikel does. And that's at solo.to/nexttake podcast. We're also on several social media as well. You can get access to these, trying to do better with that. But we are on Facebook and Instagram at Next Take Podcast, and Twitter and TikTok at Next Take Pod. We also have our email address and where you can reach out to us, and that is at mikeltanyka@gmail.com. But that is it. We went over the history of Father's Day and where it comes from. We did some funny dad jokes, some fun facts, and of course we talked about different movies that you can watch with your dad. And yeah, that's what we did. But that is it for this episode. I am Tanyka, and we're out until next week with Mikel. Bye, everybody.